Alright. Well, wasn't actually sure if I'd record one of these this week. We'll see if this actually makes it up there. I guess it kind of depends on how well this goes. But this is going to be part 2 of the Survival Hunter stuff. Now, it's been a little over a week since I recorded the last section. Right now, it is the 30th, so basically, it's the day before the actual part 1, or the leveling process, I guess, of the Survival Hunter is going live. I just put up the poll for Nightborne versus Taran. Nightborne have won, or, well, I mean, the poll's not over yet, right? But Nightborne have a pretty dominant lead. So, they're probably going to win. I expect them to win. As I already said in the part 1, I was going to level a Taran Paladin anyway. I just thought it would be fun to make a poll of it. I figured people would want to see the Death Knight, and either way, then you get to do that first. I'm still debating on how I want to do the Taran. I might do it on stream, I might do it off stream. At this moment, I haven't decided. This week, I haven't really done a whole lot. As you can probably see, it's been pretty much an entire week. Because I think it was like, when I did the recording before, it was like Saturday or Sunday of the previous week, so it's been over a week since the end of the last Survival Hunter, challenge thing. And really, not a lot of stuff has happened. So you can see here I did get a PvP trinket. I did manage to get a normal Titanic Ocular Gland. I think that happened, honestly, in the last part. I just don't know if I mentioned it. I'm pretty sure I already had this. At this point, I was lucky enough to get a LFR Domination Socket chest piece. I still do not have really any Domination, shards. Bought this off the vendor over there. So now I have 4 out of 5 of my Domination sockets. I have 2 of the good DPS shards, but still only 3 shards total. And overall, I mean, my gear isn't terrible, but it's also not amazing. Now, the real thing is, I guess, what am I going to do from here? Now, I have already done Torghast this week. It was honestly pretty uneventful. I think as of right now, I did Layer 9 and Layer 12. I'm up to 840 Soul Cinders, so I might get Layer 12 done. I might not. It's kind of whatever, either way. But, point being, I'm just not really sure where to go from here. This is one of the biggest, I guess, difficulties, right? So, if this was a character that I wasn't trying to do this challenge on, I would probably ask my friends or my guild to actually help. Now, as we all know in part 1, that has not really been a consistent thing for me, which is one of the reasons why I initially did this challenge in the first place. Now, I will say, to my guild's partial credit, I kind of mentioned I was going to stick it out, so I am still in this guild. And, like I said, to their partial credit, first off, they did a bit of a guild merger, as in another dead guild merged into them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and preach on the ethics of guild merging, and I figure while I'm doing this, I might as well start a normal Sanctum of Domination group. Fresh, normal, Sanctum, AOTC, lead, minimum item level, 220. Alright, you know the drill. I already went over this in the last one. It's not too hard to form your own group if you are patient. But yeah, so I'm not going to sit here and preach on the ethics of whether or not you should do a guild merger. My personal advice to everybody is that 9 out of 10 times, guild mergers do not work unless everybody's on the same page. I think one of the other problems is they promoted one of these people who joined to an officer position. And now this guy, for all intents and purposes, as far as I can see, seems like a pretty cool dude. He seems like a good player. He's usually one of the top DPS, at least so far in the 1 week of raiding that we did. Seems like a pretty chill dude. But I am more talking about past experiences. I feel like a lot of times when you have a guild merger, there is that sort of expectation of, hey, let's make sure that one of our people gets to be an officer, so they have some sort of say. But one thing I've noticed is that they've made a new officer rank for this guy to basically give him the position of officer in name only without actually making him an officer. So I'm kind of curious as to how this is going to go. How are they going to actually handle the decisions in terms of recruitment or loot council, etc.? I don't know. It really remains to be seen. But all I'm trying to say is that guild mergers like that are a slippery slope. It's very easy to create like a big cliquey dynamic within the guild, and we already know that this guild has issues with being cliquey on its own. So, admittedly at this point, I've been pretty distant, I suppose, in terms of engaging with the guild, because I've already found out at this point that, like, I'm not really going to be able to get much help from them. They haven't been, like, too friendly. I'm at this point just of the mindset of, I'm just going to stick it out, I'm going to keep doing shit on my warrior, and then on the side, I'm obviously going to do this challenge on my hunter, which at this point doesn't require their help at all. I have managed to get them to put together alt-heroic runs. I kind of, like, pushed for that. I'm like, you know, you guys really should start doing this, partially because of the experience I had on my hunter, and I'm like, you understand that, like, a lot of people, when they look for a guild, they're looking for people that do stuff outside of raid. One of the biggest draws is having a day where they can gear up their alts, and I'm like, you know, you're looking for people to have these specific classes, right? Well, if you don't give them an opportunity to gear that, they will never swap to those classes that you want. So they were like, yeah, sure, we'll look into setting it up. They did kind of a shit job at it. They basically put out an announcement 3 hours before they were going, after being a bit iffy on whether they were going to do it in the first place. I ended up, of course, not going, because at this stage, the only serious alt that I have that I actually want to play is this hunter. And obviously, I'm not going to do stuff on this hunter outside of Pugs. I've already made up my mind. It's I guess, a blessing and a curse, right? If they had done that last week, I'd already have a geared survival hunter by now. But at the same time, you guys wouldn't have this survival hunter, you know, pugging my way to KSM and AOTC series. So, now that I've started this series, I'm obviously going to see it through. But I guess it's just a bit of lost potential on their part there, right? Now I'm going to go with this single target build for most of the raid. You can technically swap for Soul Render, but you don't really need to. I would say especially for Venthyr, this is probably like your best go-to builds. Wildfire Infusion on like Mythic Plus is definitely a good pick, but Birds of Prey, it's just a good talent. Mongoose Bite versus Tip of the Spear, this one's probably debatable, but I think Mongoose Bite in any single target scenario is just going to be stronger. I really don't understand people's obsession with like 12 manning or something. It seems odd, especially in Pugs. Like, I can understand the mentality of like the more people there are, the more chance there is to fuck up. I mean, in Pugs, it's not like you trust everybody to fuck up or to not fuck up either way. So in many cases, having more people in Pugs, unless it's a mechanic where, like, if one person fucks it up, then the entire raid wipes. I'm trying to think of an example of that. I mean, aside from tanks, right? Obviously, if one of the tanks fucks up, then your raid can wipe on really any given boss. I guess Painsmith? If somebody gets the chains on Painsmith and they run it into the group, that's, like, probably the first mechanic that can just automatically wipe you. So I guess that one you can make an argument, but really on every other mechanic, it's like, you know, it's better to just have more people as a buffer. Alright, well, it took a while, but things are finally set up. We're ready to go. I got called an asshole because I refused to invite somebody's friend who had straight gray parses. You know, typical Pug stuff. Oh man, I got a 100 item level parse. You're looking at the 1 out of 120th best 220 to 222 item level survival. Ooh. That's so dumb. You know what? I'll take what I can get. How was that overall? I mean, yeah, I know anima powers skew things a little bit. Oh yeah, 207th best survival hunter on normal terror crew. Move it up in the world. Okay. Let's see. Melee group with Cryptics. Who else would benefit from this? I think, like, Havoc benefits from it. Of course, I am giving myself Wind Fury, right? You know, perks of being the group leader. Get Survival Hunter Wind Fury Totem. Is it selfish? Oh yeah, it absolutely is. But you know, it's like, if I'm gonna go through the effort of making my own group, it's like the kickbacks, right? Roll 1 to 105? Why 105? I've never seen somebody ask for people to roll to 105. Very strange. But I did beat the other Survival Hunter, and I mean, that's all that matters at the end of the day, right? So, I still do not have a Domination Shard set bonus, so it's definitely going to hinder me a little bit. I have already killed these two bosses on LFR, but starting off on this next boss, I can start to get Domination Shards. I'm going to hell because I am dropping Jesus Cristo from my group. May he rest in peace. I am pleasantly surprised, though, at this point, there has not been many people leaving. Usually you start to slowly lose people. At the moment, I think the only people that we've lost are the low DPS that I unfortunately had to kick. But group seems good. I mean, that Eye of the Jailer kill thing got fucking melted, right? So, good shit. And if all goes according to plan, I will get my Jodungir Destiny's Call. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it's a fun way to say it. Jodungir. So I'm going to say it like that. And that would be pretty nice. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of stuff I can get that would be pretty nice. Oh, I forgot to enchant my ring. Whoops. Yeah. Definitely, you know, I'm not a shitter, right? Only a shitter would forget to enchant their ring. You not have the shield on normal? I always feel like I never see it. That answers that question. We got the shield right as the boss died. Woo! I got the shard! Oh, shit! I got the shard. Okay, that is good. That was really good. Well, I got pants, which, like, aren't really useful. Really not gonna help me a lot, because that's my legendary slot. But I can't complain. I cannot complain about that. Woo! Alright. Shard of D's nuts. Yeah, I know, everybody said that joke. It's tired. But every single time I see it, I think of that. It's... what can I say? I'm basic. And honestly, the gear from Heroic at the end of the day, it's not bad. There's definitely some good items in there. But the important thing is really just that the fact that I have domination sockets. And at this point, I'm only missing one. So whether I get that domination socket on normal or heroic, it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And then obviously I need to at least kill each boss once a week to get a chance at my domination shards. And if I do all that, then a lot of my actual gear is going to come from Mythic Plus. Like, my rings, probably going to get some good ones from Mythic Plus. My weapon, since, well, I haven't gotten a Jotun gear off normal, probably going to come from M+. I already have Titanic Ocular Gland, which is my Bis Trinket. Ooh, that knocked me off. Oh, but good thing I am not that shit at the game. Yeah, so I already have Titanic Ocular Glands. If I get another trinket, I mean, I could just keep using this one. Or it's probably going to come from M+. And then the other stuff, like bracers, this M+, cape, M+. I already have a solid neck. I have heroic gloves, right? I mean, a lot of my good gear that I'm going to get is going to be M+ gear. And M+ gear... well, I don't need to worry about having my, or not having my domination set in order to efficiently clear that, because it's not a big deal. It doesn't work. And I already have the 3 damage shards either way. Yeah, so people love to overcomplicate this boss. If you are doing it, so, my friend's like, let me know when you get to KT and Sylvanas, but, like, the point is that I'm supposed to be doing this in a pug. It's like, sure, I'm leading the group, but I feel like if I invite a friend, it's cheating, right? But the sad thing is, like, I know that he needs Sylvanas for his weekly, because he doesn't have all his shards of domination yet. So I don't want to, like, fuck my friend over and be like, no, I can't invite you. I mean, whatever. If I get to Sylvanas and this group is still going strong, at that point, I think one of my friends coming in, who isn't even, like, mythic geared, won't even make a difference. Like, he's like, heroic geared, so he'll be fine. No! That tank just, like, almost spun it right on top of me. That would have been so bad. I panicked. I was like, oh no. I'm gonna look like such a fucking jackass if I'm the only one who dies. Damn, the Fire Mage in this group got a 99 overall 100 item level parse on that boss. That was nuts. Windwalker's pumping too. Ha! I got a 69! Perfectly calculated. I totally intended to do that. But I got a 95 for item levels, so I'll take it. Yeah, I think it's safe to invite my friends. I don't even know what item level he is. But, I mean, like he says, obviously you can see the damage, but, I mean, he's kind of admittedly shit-talking himself, but it is true, he's not like a geared mythic raider, he's just trying to get his Sylvanas done for the week. So, should be fine. Should be fine. Obviously, this challenge is like... It's the spirit of the challenge. I'm not getting carried by anybody. I'm not, like, getting invites to groups. I'm making this group myself with no help from anybody else. You know, I feel like, you know, I shouldn't have to take the challenge by the exact letter of the rule and be a dick to my friends. No, you can't have an invite because of YouTube challenges. I will say, I never understand the people that put, like, notes that say AOTC on main, or 5 out of 10 mythic on main, or something, and then they don't link anything. Right? Like, first of all, generally speaking, a group is going to judge you on your own merits, not based on what your main has. Like, if your character is geared, and you link AOTC, that just helps. But if you're trying to get into a group on a 210 character, and you're like, oh, I have AOTC on my main, it doesn't matter. But the people who just put in a note, I have this, 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 and that, those are the ones where I'm just like, yeah, sure you do. Okay. Can you link it? And then they don't. So, I'm not going to invite that. Well,
5, 4,
I'm fine with that.
2, 1. Very well. Death it is. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, she's immune. Now we do chains. Oh, come on, who died? Oh, come on! 2 people died? That's kind of annoying. People should not be dying to Rive. It's just like the easiest mechanic in the game. Oh, no, don't waste the B-Res on your friends. Oh, fucking hell. I guess it will be good to at least have a monk buff on phase 2.
Your lives end here.
It's so epic, it even has a cutscene right in the middle.
Is the jailer trying to break out of the maw?
You can't spell cutscene without epic. I don't know where I was going with that one. Around Oribos.
I shattered your throne. Now I'll break you.
Oh shit. Okay.
Heroes, I need aid.
Okay, she's immune.
With me, champions. Jaina needs our strength. Beware. Champions will assist the admiral.
I will say, I have no idea how some people actually fall off these platforms. Like, when I'm on my warrior, I just go balls to the wall, like, charge, leap across it, and stuff. But the idea that people can actually just walk off them, even going slow, I'm just like, what? Like, as you saw there, I just had to take my time. It's like, no problem at all. Oh, don't get hit. Ooh, that priest.
Quickly, champions, stop Sylvanas.
Just playing it safe. Nothing God damn it, my friend fell off! Fucking idiot! Amar! And the best part is, he knows that his fuck up is gonna be immortalized in a YouTube video. Ah, good fucking job, Amar. I hope you're watching this, and I hope you're fucking proud of yourself. God damn it, Amar. You had one job. Ah. No, 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 no. Oh, wait, that's fake? Okay.
Let's regroup with Jaina.
Oh, fuck. Whew. Almost got hit there. Alright, good. We got a kick. Harpoon. Yay! I'm a fancy survival hunter. I'm not going to use Coordinated Assault here because the RP would fuck my cooldown duration. But I am going to use Flayed Shot because that will be up in time. This. Okay, this should be... Oh, no.
Sylvanas, give Anduin to me. Oribus is being enveloped by the maw. Pugging no longer. The portal's nearly open. It's done. Hurry!
Beerus, Amar, you get a chance. Well, I probably should have just kicked the mage at this point. I was hoping he'd come back at some point. We not have a B-res? We have to have a B-res. There's no way. Like, am I crazy? No, wrong warrior. Oh, no. That one. Oh, Jesus Christ. They're not going to send out another one. They're just going to throw a single B-res out there, and we're going to sit here with 1 DPS down. Thank you! They finally rest him. Alright, Amar. No rest for the wicked. Get your lazy ass up and do damage. One of our healers just ate shit. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. That's bad. Come on. But they run right on top of me right as it's about to end, man. Actually works out. Popping acceleration. Okay, we had another BRS. Perfect. We are going to have Lust again. This should be fine. We probably won't even need the final platform. I hope I don't get targeted, because I really don't want to do mechanics. I mean, who does want to do mechanics at the end of the day? Coordinated assaults. Blade shot. After this, we should phase. Raise, I think. Yeah, 1 second.
I need to target something first.
The moment we're situated on this platform. Pop Lust. Potion. Blade shot. I just need to not get mechanics. Dodge that one. Dodged. No mechanics for me. Suckers actually having to do the boss fight. Meanwhile, I get to do big dick survival damage. That's an oxymoron, but still. Alright, come on. Come on. I want to at least get a 100 item level parse. Be nice.
Nothing escapes my out of range.
I must get closer.
Alright. Come on, come on. Sylvanas, come on. She's just chilling over there. Come on, Sylvanas. Oh no, this kill shot proc. This should be kill. I mean, obviously we've killed it, right? But yeah! Let's go! And no, I'm not going to watch the cutscene.
The Arbiter's defenses are weakening.
But,
Stop the
hooray.
while we still can.
Watch me get the bow. Oh, that would be so funny.
We thought the jailer was coming.
Oh man. See, I have a friend who plays Hunter who's been trying to get the bow for weeks. So if I got the bow in my survival Hunter, I would have just I would have lost a friend, I'll put it that way. 100%. Because I mean, I am absolutely that guy who would be like, hey motherfucker, guess what I got? I'll have to try another week. I did get my blood set bonus though. Hey, that's actually pretty nice. Cool. Okay, overall, that was a good normal raid. That was pretty solid. Alright, let me, thanks for helping get fucked, though. You're in the video now. Oh, that's so great. Okay, let's hear his explanation on how he died by falling off chains. He charged through the ice and it bugged him and he fell from the bridge. Honestly, I'm thinking right now, I'm like, well, I could go ahead and I could do, like, some heroic bosses. Or I could do Mythic Plus. But the reality, I'm gonna be completely real, is I'm just not feeling it right now. I mean, that was fun and all, and it's nice that I did manage to get my set bonus. So, yay! I can finally actually do competitive damage. I guess one thing I am curious about... Yeah, I am curious about how I did on logs. On Sylvanas. Would be cool if I got at least a 100 item level. That would mean I'm moving up in the world. I can expect my parses to, like, skyrocket right now. But that's gonna be for next week. Okay, it wasn't a 100 item level, it was an 89 item level. I did more damage than my friend. I beat his 244 arms warrior. Get fucked. Okay. So I'm gonna stop this for now. I haven't decided how I want to handle this video yet, because as I mentioned, I haven't really done a whole lot. And while the exact recording time is for this about 3 hours, I'm going to heavily edit it. There was a lot of bosses in the middle where, like, nothing really interesting happened. So I'm probably going to cut out a lot of that footage. Mostly just going to include maybe the segments where something cool happens, or maybe, you know, I get a nice piece of gear upgrade, all that stuff. But we're probably looking at like 45 minutes of actual content tops. Obviously, you guys know how long it lasted, and I'd like this video to be a bit more. So in terms of this weekly reset, this is honestly all I've done. I've been doing Korthia dailies, I've been doing all that fun stuff, callings. My renown is now up to 61. The only thing that I haven't done is the campaign, so I am still just kind of sitting on that, haven't got it done yet. I'll get around to it next week. It's one of those, like, min-maxy things where I kind of have everything I need. I just need, like, the empowered soul binds or whatever for, I guess, Naja the Mistblade, which is the best soul bind for me. But in terms of, like, my Great Vault, anything that I could get, really, from a Mythic Plus dungeon would just be kind of lackluster. I don't really think that I could get anything super great. I'm probably going to be better off just getting something from one of these, right? If I get like a Sylvanas or a KT piece, that's pretty good. If I manage to get one of the Domination shoulder items, I'm gonna pick that regardless. So, yeah, I mean, even Joden gear. Like, there's a lot of good things. So, I'm probably gonna, you know, shelf the Survival Hunter, at least for today. I'll, you know, bust it out tomorrow. Unfortunately, I did see they're having really long maintenance, and I have classes starting tomorrow, which means that I won't actually be able to play my Survival Hunter until probably after I get home from class, which kind of sucks, unfortunately. But once I do that, I'll include the footage of me opening my Great Vault. That should be fun. I don't even remember what I got last week. I think I included it. I think it was the boots. I may not have. Yeah, I don't think I took footage of that. But it was the boots. I'm pretty sure that's what I got. But yeah, next week should be fun. Would be really cool if I got, like, a Sylvanas piece. I also, like, in theory, if I really wanted to min-max, could do Tazavesh. But I'm going to try to take this challenge a bit more slow. I would say getting normal done is a pretty big step. And then, depending on how much time I have, I might add some bonus footage for the end of this video. If there's any bonus footage, it's going to be after the reset. It'll probably be me doing maybe Sanctum again. So maybe it's just going to be a full video of Sanctum. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I'm going to end here. I'm not going to do an outro, I guess, because it's probably not the end of the video. Alright, as promised, here is the Survival Hunter Great Vault. So, fingers crossed that I get something good. I mean, I'm not expecting much, right? It's going to be 3 normal pieces, but, I mean, you never know. I expected nothing, and I'm still disappointed. God damn. Bracers I already have, or no, wait. I don't already have these bracers. They are, in fact, correction, worse than my existing bracers. Is this, like, so... Fuck, man, this is, like, the worst box ever. And see, here's the funny thing. So... I mean, I guess it's, like, good, right? Because my Prot Warriors box, I got File of Putrefaction 252, which is literally my best in slot trinket. So, I mean, I had a pretty good box today on my main. I really can't complain about that. But the Survival Hunter got shafted. Big rip on that. Now, so this is technically an item level upgrade, but that trinket's not very good. The PvP one is just one of my best. Definitely, it's not going to replace Titanic Ocular. So, this, I think, it might slightly outperform. But I'm also really close to being able to buy the Conquest version of this trinket, so, like, yeah. This is genuinely the first time this expansion that I've actually had to take this. I really think that the Great Vault needs some sort of, like, bad luck protection. Because, I mean, come on. I already have 239 gloves. This will never, ever be an upgrade. I already have 233 bracers. Like, I don't understand how this can happen. And I also don't understand how you can still get offered, like, non-domination socket pieces. I feel like, honestly... I don't really think this is a lot to ask, but I think that everything that you get offered in the Great Vault should at least be, you know, an upgrade, a direct upgrade, or an item level adjacent upgrade. So, what it could do here is offer me, like, a belt, it could offer me shoulders, it could offer me a weapon, or it could offer me a trinket. Now, maybe, let's say it offered me 3 trinkets. Well, that would be really unlucky, but at least out of those 3 trinkets, you could argue that maybe one of them I'd be able to use. Maybe. But the fact that I get 2 items that are, like, straight up downgrades, and 1 item that's, like, passable, like, this would probably, in a perfect world, be the worst possible item, and ironically, it's the best here, and it's still not great. It just seems like something that would be so easy to implement. And it's like, if you're not going to have a deterministic gearing method, like the Great, or within the Great Vaults, like, if these tokens aren't going to let me, like, stack it up and then eventually I can buy whatever item I want, like Valor points or something, then you at least need to make, like, the loot drop thing non-offensively bad, right? That's my Great Vault rant. Alright, well, let's take these fucking tokens. Let's see what we can buy with this. It's Kotul, right? Okay, so... I also, like, why can't I buy, Valor points with this. Like, that may seem stupid, right? But for catching up alts, that would actually be a genuinely good option. I mean, Korthite crystals are, like, effectively worthless now, so... Soul Ash is also effectively worthless now that you can trade it. I mean, the clear play here is 3 cataloged research, just so I can get caught up a little bit on my alts for that, but... Wait, you don't even get the rep, man? It doesn't even... Oh, that's so lame. So it doesn't even give you, like, an item to hand in where, like, you get, like, half the rep? So in my mind, I was like, oh, that's 1,500 rep, or 1,500 cataloged research and 750 rep, right? Because, like, every single point of cataloged research you put in, you get, like, half the amount in rep. So I'm like, okay, you know, whatever. At least I'm getting some progress towards that reputation. But this doesn't fucking matter. Like, look at my reputation on this. I'm only tier 3 on this character. I honestly don't even know if by the end of this expansion at this point, I'm actually going to finish Archivist's Codex on anything but my main. Because holy shit, it's such a slow rep to grind. So the fact that your consolation prize doesn't even give you rep? Oh, Jesus. Whew. Good thing I have Raiden a little bit, because if I was planning on opening this and then getting shit done on survival, my motivation to play this would be killed. So hopefully by the time I eventually get around to doing this, I'm feeling a little bit better about it. Alright, so I've tried to record this a few times by now. Various things have happened. This is the second time I've tried to record this within Torghast, and, I mean, in typical fashion, I tried to start it on Layer 12, and then I just found that Layer 12 is absolute garbage if you don't have gear for it. We all know this, and for some reason, I keep trying it, and every single time it goes horribly. I'm not saying it's impossible, but, I mean, you're just gonna die a lot. It's just how it goes at this point. And while I'm, you know, sitting here and talking, I don't want to have to worry about, like, having to constantly die and, you know, use cooldowns on every single pack. Lens of El-Shabair is nuts, though. But, I've also tried recording this a few other times, so, first time I did it, I wasn't really sure, like, what I wanted to do for the ending section. I tried to do Old War Time Walking last week, and then I couldn't really find a group for it, so I scrapped that. Then I tried to do a plus 15, or not plus 15. I wish it was a plus 15. It was only a plus 7 the other side, right? And in that plus 7 the other side, the tank had absolutely no idea what he was doing, and we wiped 3 times on the Mana Storms, so that was fun. Okay, or just fucking pull it out, man. Yeah, oh, did you die to buzzsaws? Oh, gee, maybe it's because you fucking kited it outside of the explosion, you fucking idiot. Did he just say, come on, please, boom? You kited it out of it, you fucking chimpanzee! I love pugs. Oh, this is gonna be a fun fucking challenge. This is only a plus 7 and we have 13 deaths already. Jesus fuck, man. I mean, I don't really think I want to do that, right? Okay. Oh my god. God. He just keeps saying boom as he kites it out of the circle. Oh my god. And then, after all of that bullshit, I finally decided to try and do like a recording where I was just like doing LFR on my recently leveled Blood DK, which I did on stream. And if you were there for those streams, I appreciate it. That was really fun. I enjoyed having everybody there. But I honestly felt like a lot of the stuff that I talked about in that video wasn't really necessarily important for this specific Hunter video, right? Like, a lot of that stuff I probably could make into its own video, so I was like, alright, you know what? Just gonna take that footage and maybe use it some other time. And for now, I just wanted to re-record the Hunter ending, just so I can get this all set up. It is actually Wednesday the 8th, aka the day this video is getting posted. So yeah, it's it's been a long time in terms of editing, even up until the very last few hours before posting. I'm still trying to get this last bit edited, or even recorded so that I can edit it. And I don't know, I figured especially now it's probably relevant, because at the end of the last Hunter video, I talked about my thoughts on my guild, and, well, I also did Torghast while doing that stuff. And I did kind of finish it by saying that I was going to stay in my guilds, at least for the time being. And I got a lot of, like, really good feedback on that. A lot of people left really nice comments. A lot of people basically said that, you know, they felt the same way with their guilds, and, you know, they kind of know how I'm feeling about the whole thing. And that was really nice to hear. A lot of people were surprised to hear that I was even still willing to stick it out. A lot of people were like, man, just, you know, find a new guild. And to that, I would say the main reason that up until now I haven't really cared that much. Obviously, at that point in time, I already was like considering leaving. So it's not like it wasn't ever something on my mind. But the reason that I've stuck it out is because I've just figured, fuck it, right? Like, I don't care. Because although I do like doing much more, I guess, serious mythic progression, generally speaking, I'm doing a lot of video editing right now. So my time to play outside of Raid is generally pretty limited these days, especially with college starting. So I kind of figured, yeah, as long as they're, like, getting good progress and stuff, then I don't really care. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh my god, like, they're not the best guild ever, whatever. And I was kind of also hopeful. I think I talked about that at the start of this video, which start of this video was recorded over a week ago on the 30th, right? So you get like a good spread of my thoughts over the past few weeks. And at that time, they had just done a guild merger, and I wasn't really sure how it was going to go. Now, a lot of the people that joined, as I said, seemed pretty cool. But the unfortunate reality is those people are either not active outside of Raid, like, at all, or if they are active outside of Raid, they have their own clique. It's a completely separate new clique that now exists within the guild. And admittedly, like, I can't really be upset at those guys because they're not leaders in the guild, right? They joined from a guild merger, so it's 100% expected that they're going to have their own clique. That's, in fact, like, the exact thing I believe I said is a concern, right? You know, a lot of times when you do a guild merger, it just makes things even more cliquey than it might already be. And that was the case here, too. That has been the experience I've had in basically every single guild that attempts to do a guild merger. Cool people, though. Definitely seem like really nice guys. But the main issue I still have is the leadership. And the leadership, I really don't understand how they can be so incompetent when it comes to, like, just understanding what the fuck is going on in their guilds. Like, first of all, we got to Soul Render Dormizane, finally, which was, it took much longer than it should have, but last week we finally did that. And we, at this point, have only gotten him to around, I don't even know, like 40% or something, which, I mean, isn't terrible considering we only had like 2 nights on him, but it's not like we're within range of a kill yet. We still haven't successfully completed some of the really bad overlaps towards the end of the fight. So you can't be like, oh yeah, you know, we're definitely going to kill this, we should keep pulling. And then a bunch of people were absent on Thursday, so this day, the 2nd. And if you remember, that was also the day when the PTR hit. So, of course, I'm, like, really anxious to hop onto the PTR because I really want to get a lot of testing done, which I ended up doing after Raid. I've already talked about that before. Had to spend a shit ton of time working on that and recorded and edited the footage within, like, less than 12 hours. It was a lot of work, but I was like, alright, I want to spend as much time on PTR as possible. Now, I'm not saying, oh yeah, they should have canceled Raid so that I could have, you know, gone and done PTR. But what I was kind of frustrated by is I was already, like, not super into it. I already didn't want to be there at this point. I would rather be doing anything else. And we have, like, multiple people missing, and we're still putting pulls into Soul Render Dormizane, despite the fact that at that stage, Soul Render is not, like, a hard fight. Like, nothing about Soul Render Dormazane is like, oh yeah, we really need to learn this mechanic. It's pizza slices, ads that come out, and chains. That's the entire fight. The only thing that's hard about it is the damage and healing check. It's, I mean, I guess, making sure that people are doing CCs properly, but for the most part, CCs were fine. But then it's also making sure chains don't overlap and one-shot everybody, which isn't very hard, but for some reason they kept fucking that up. It's making sure your prop paladin tank doesn't randomly die to auto attacks, which, unfortunately, our new prop paladin tank was doing a lot. And then, I guess, making sure that you have the healing to survive some of the really bad overlaps, which we didn't, especially because one of our healers wasn't there, and making sure you have the damage to, in a decent amount of time, burn down all the ads before they reach the boss, which we didn't because some of our DPS weren't there. So all in all, the main thing that was holding us back at this stage from progressing had nothing to do with seeing a mechanic. There was nothing to learn. It was literally just, we don't have a lot of our main players here, and, you know, it's not like our numbers are super good anyway, that's just kind of how the guild is. We're honestly not in a position to kill the boss right now. So, instead of doing anything else, which, you know, probably should have been heroic, because one of the realities of this tier, right, is clearing the raid, even if it's on a difficulty that, you know, people don't necessarily need gear from, gives you Stygian Embers. And Stygian Embers let you upgrade your Shards of Domination. And that means you get an overall DPS increase. So, in theory, if you know that you have, like, 2 hours left of raid, and a lot of people aren't able to make it, and you're not going to make any sort of progress whatsoever, and you skipped re-clearing Heroic that week, then it would just be better overall if you did a Heroic clear. And they waited until the absolute last hour, it was like the last 45 minutes, and they're like, okay, we'll do a Heroic clear now. So, I had already lost pretty much all my time from that. And then, obviously, I still needed to do recording for the 9.1.5 stuff. I did check, they said, oh yeah, it's optional. So I was like, okay, you know, last 45 minutes of raid, if they're doing a heroic clear or whatever, I don't need anything on my main. And they said, like, oh, you can bring ults and stuff, but at this stage, I didn't have any of my ults ready. I'm like, whatever, I'll just, you know, get my Death Knight ready for the, you know, the weekend run. Which is exactly what I did. I had my Death Knight at level 60 by midday on Sunday. I did that on stream. And I was planning on bringing it to the alt clear. Because knowing me, I could have done a few Mythic Zeros at the last second and, you know, gotten it prepared and whatnot, and then gotten some heroic gear with it. And then one of the officers was like, oh yeah, we decided to cancel this week's heroic alt run because we already did heroic during raid. I'm like, what? Like, that is not why you have a weekend alt clear. Like, if your alt clear is on weekends, then you should be doing that on weekends. You shouldn't just be saying, well, we're going to do it as part of the raid today. And second of all, that's the thing, it was part of the raid, so, like, I don't know, like, that means that even if people wanted to get heroic cleared within the guild on both their main and their alts, they couldn't have done that this week in this guild. So, the entire idea of doing that stuff as a guild is so that people don't have to pug it, right? Like, if I really wanted to, I could go on my warrior right now, and I could go and pug heroic, but I don't have any interest in doing that. That's not why I'm in a guild. I'm in here so that I don't have to do that. So if I have to choose between getting a heroic clear on my main or getting a heroic clear on my alt, well, I guess in the future I should always bring my alt whenever they do a single heroic clear, because I guess these guys literally refuse to do more than a single heroic clear per week. Fucking hell. But that's just such a terrible way to run a guild, especially when you agree to do a scheduled Saturday alt heroic, and I even asked, because they said they weren't doing it on Saturday, so I was like, well, can we do it on Sunday then? And they're like, yeah, you know, we're not interested in that. They were like, if you want to put something together, like, you know, you're welcome to do that. Like, oh, thank you for allowing me to put together my own group. Like, you know, very, very gracious of them. to give me that option, right? So overall, it's just been like, I have absolutely nothing to gain from this guild. Like, they have not been doing well in terms of rating, and that's one of the other things, right? Like, this week. So this week was interesting in terms of, it was good in some ways and terrible in most others. And the ways in which it was good had absolutely nothing to do with this guild. So I managed to, on Reclear, get 2 rank 1 parses, which was neat. I got a rank 1 Heroic Sylvanas, and I got rank 1 the 9. Which, it always feels weird saying rank 1 9, right? Like, I'm like, oh wait, no, like, that's another number. It sounds like I'm saying, like, I'm getting rank 19 or something. But no, rank 1 9. So, is that really super relevant at all? Not really, but I mean, it's something that I was happy about. So, I guess at the very least, it made re-clearing a bit more fun. Because I got to be like, yay, hooray, I got, like, you know, a rank 1 parse. And then, woo, I got another rank 1 parse. That kind of thing. So that was probably the best part about re-clear yesterday. The problem was, they, man, their leadership is so incompetent. I know I've said this already, but it's just, I cannot stress how incompetent and inexperienced these people are at actually leading a guild and honestly just running a raid team. Because we've killed Eye of the Jailer multiple times by now. And yet, for some reason, last night we wiped, like, it must have been close to 10 times on Eye of the Jailer, because they kept trying to do these new strategies that they heard about that they said would be more efficient. And I can see how the new strategies they tried would, in theory, be more efficient. But first of all, they still have not tried the simplest strategy ever, which is split the raid group into 2 groups of 10 people, have 10 people go on each eye, and then just do it that way. It's the most basic way to do the boss, and yet for some reason, it is the only strategy that they absolutely refuse to attempt, which I don't understand. It's like, if you're gonna go to the effort of trying out a new strategy on every single re-clear for Eye of the Jailer, why the fuck do you not try the one that is so fucking obvious? It hurts my brain. But the new strategy they tried was that one where it's like, you have like the diamond shape, so you have one eye like pulled to the wall on each side, and then you have like the 2 groups of ranged players, and they can like freely swap to the eye at any time. And the reality is that this doesn't really offer you that much of a benefit, because if your DPS is evenly split, the eyes are going to die at the same time regardless. This just means that you can be a bit safer, right? Like, you know, if one eye starts to pull ahead, you can freely swap some of the ranged over to the eye that's like lagging behind, and it's a bit more of a flexible strategy. Alright, sure. I see the advantage to this strategy, but why are we doing this when we've already killed Eye of the Jailer multiple times with a completely different strat? And of course, as you might imagine, because it was a brand new strategy that requires people to actually use their brains, none of the ranged DPS knew what was going on. You had puddles all over the place, you had ranged DPS stepping on top of each other and blowing up the raid, and it was just a general shit show for 5 pulls. And then they were like, oh, well, you know, this strategy works perfectly fine. It's just like, we need people to understand it. Sure, but, like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is not a prog boss. This is literally the farthest thing from a prog boss. It's a boss that we've literally already killed multiple times. There is no incentive to try and find more efficient ways of killing this thing. And as a result, I mean, it was just fucking miserable. And then the best part is, they said that I was trolling at one point. I think they were kind of joking, but they were like, you know, don't do that, that's trolling, because I tried to soul shape the beam, the big Eye of the Jailer laser beam. I died to it once in like 10 pulls, just because my game lagged out momentarily as I was going for the soul shape and I died. Every single other pull, I got it multiple times a fight perfectly. And yet, they said, oh, Anji, you know, it's kind of troll to try and soul shape the beam. You know, just do it correctly. And it's like, if this was prog, if this wasn't a fight that we've killed a million times by now, sure, I'd play it safe. But the reality is, 9 times out of 10, I'm not fucking that up. And we shouldn't be on this boss for 10 pulls. You know, the first 3 pulls, I did it correctly. We should have killed it on one of those pulls. I made a single mistake on, like, pull 4 or something. So, you know, God forbid. But that really pissed me off, because I'm like, you gonna sit here and tell me that I'm trolling when you guys are sitting here and creating new strategies for re-clear bosses for literally no other reason other than, I guess, you want to feel like you're doing your job as a raid leader? Like, why are you researching strategies for Eye of the fucking Jailer when we still haven't killed any sort of respectable number of mythic bosses this tier? Like, they sit there and they complain that, like, oh, you know, it's really hard to find new people because, like, most guilds at this point are on Painsmith, and, you know, a lot of people don't want to join a guild that's still progging on Soul Render, and yet they spend all of their time doing fucking research on Eye of the Jailer strategies. It's just fucking insane, man. So, on our re-clear, we didn't make it back to Soul Render. We haven't even killed Remnant yet. And it's like, if you're gonna skip a full heroic clear, which, fine, a lot of guilds do that, but at that point, you can't even re-clear 4 bosses within 3 hours. Like, all you're doing is Heroic Terragru, KT Sylvanas, and 4 mythic bosses in a re-clear. And apparently that's too difficult for them. So all that shit combined just makes me get really fed up. There's also other things where some of their, like, comp decisions are baffling. And, I mean, it's like, I'm not expecting an amazing comp from a guild like this. I've talked about this before, but I don't think that you're gonna get something that's like super top tier in the average guild. But they just, like, they had a pretty good Holy Paladin. Like, the raid leader plays Holy Paladin, and I'll give him credit. He was a good Holy Paladin. But then for some reason, they recruited 2 more Holy Paladins and had the raid leader swap to Ret Paladin. And he's not very good at Ret Paladin. Like, he's not bad, but he definitely doesn't play it on, like, the level that you should be playing it for mythic progression. So, all I can ask is, like, why? Why would you replace a perfectly good HPAL with another decent HPAL just to have, you know, that person go and play a spec that they're not very good at? It's just recruit people that actually play something that we need, instead of recruiting for spots that we already have. I really don't get it. Overall, it's just baffling. And, I mean, this is probably going to seem like a minor nitpick, but I am very consistently beating a lot of the DPS on damage as a Prot Warrior. And, you know, if that happens once or twice, okay, sure. But the reality is, your tank should never ever be consistently beating your DPS. And when it's the same few DPS over and over, that's where it's a problem. You know, it's one thing maybe somebody has like an off raid night, and you know, they really eat shit, like this one boss, right? And the tank beats them. Okay. But if you, on every single pull, are losing to a protection warrior in DPS, that's a fucking problem. And if your raid leader does not address that whatsoever, that's a fucking problem. So, I find it kind of frustrating when I constantly see myself beating DPS, people being brought who have no business being there, even on a team that's currently progressing on Soul Render, and strategies being used that are just absolutely brain dead. And then, you know, that just means, okay, they're a bad raid team, right? But maybe, like I said, maybe if they were a good guild, I would be willing to stick it out. I've said this in the past, but I've stayed in guilds before where their raid team wasn't great, but they had a really nice guild or a really good group of players that I enjoyed talking with. I've mentioned this before, but like there was ooh, that's a good power. But there was a guild that I raided with basically at the start of Nyalotha, before I went to the one with all the drama with like the cheating officer and stuff. First guild I raided with in Nyalotha, great group of people. Really, really, really slow in progress. They had a lot of the same raid problems. Like, they had people who, you know, weren't performing super well. I was constantly, you know, beating people on damage. At that time, though, I was playing a DPS, but I guess even when you're still playing a DPS, if you're constantly beating everybody on damage, it feels kind of frustrating every single raid night. Then, you know, obviously they had, like, tanks who weren't performing super well. They had, like, very interesting comp decisions and stuff like that. Overall, not the best raid team. But admittedly, that raid team, like, didn't even intend to get cutting edge. Like, they were very open about the fact that they were a very casual raid team. This raid team has been advertising themselves as a cutting edge team, and obviously I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you know, false advertising. Every single guild that wants to kill cutting edge will advertise themselves as cutting edge, whether or not that's something they can actually realistically achieve. So, you know, I don't see that as, like, a bad thing. I just see that as more them, you know, shooting way too high, more than they can probably realistically achieve with their current guild situation. But if they're going to treat themselves as, like, you know, people running an actual serious guild, then they do need to at least attempt to run their guild seriously, and they're not. But the main thing, the main problem that I have is really just their lack of interest in maintaining a guild outside of their raid in any fashion whatsoever. Like, I genuinely don't think they understand what it means to run a guild. Like, what it means to actually run a community, not just, you know, a raid team. Like, you know, you're not a really focused raid team, right? And if you are one of those, like, top raid teams, you know, even those ones generally have pretty active stuff outside of raid. Like, obviously, I haven't been in Limit or Echo, but I'm pretty sure that, you know, obviously not right now because they've already finished the tier, right? But I'm pretty sure that, like, leading up to a tier while progress is, like, you know, still a concern, Limit and Echo are probably extremely active outside of raid, and they make sure that, like, every single person in their raid is able to get shit done. I would imagine, because that just makes sense. So, I don't think they're just like, yeah, you know, fuck it, like, you know, you just pug, you know, it just doesn't make sense. And, you know, if you're on a really high raid team, like a really well-progressed raid team, there's kind of, yeah, that, like, wiggle room where you're like, yeah, maybe this guild isn't the best. You know, I've been in them before, where you're like, yeah, outside of raid, they're not super active, but at the very least, you know, at the very least, we're getting good progression done. In this case, it's neither. Outside of raid, they do nothing outside of their own group of friends. That has not changed in the almost month that I've been here. To the point where that other person that I mentioned who joined around the same time as me, who, like, I've been talking to, it's pretty much the only person who I've been friends with in this guild, he also joined as a complete outsider, and when I added him recently, and basically said, like, yeah, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, he kind of expressed the exact same thing. Actually, did I talk about that? I don't know if I mentioned that. But I kind of said in the previous episode that one of the only reasons that I didn't quit was because somebody from the raid team reached out to me and, you know, had, like, a pretty nice conversation with me and stuff. And that person has been really cool. But if I mean, I said it now, but if I didn't make it clear, they also joined just completely randomly. They weren't, like, one of the people that was existing in the guild. They weren't one of the people from the merger. So they were, like, a brand new player on the raid team. One of the first people that got recruited pretty much, like, right at the same time that I was. And they've had the exact same experience in this guild of, outside of raid, nobody does anything to help them. In fact, pretty much, I was the only person to actually help them, because at one point, they said, hey, can anybody help me look over logs? And, you know, a few of the officers kind of said, yeah, sure, you know, you're always welcome to do this. And apparently, when he actually tried to get help from the officers to look over logs, none of them actually helped him. So, he had to come to me, the tank, not an officer, not a person in a position of leadership whatsoever, to get help with logs. And now I'd like to think that I am pretty good at that. I did say at some point, like, you know, I can do that if people need. So that's why he was willing to reach out to me. But the fact that, like, I was the one who ended up having to help him, instead of, you know, the people whose best interest it's in for, like, their raiders to actually be, you know, understanding what's going on and whatnot, that just blows my fucking mind. And that's nothing to say anything bad about this guy, right? Like, he tried really hard to do research and whatnot, and now he's been top DPS on almost every single pull. Like, he was already a good player, don't get me wrong. But, you know, sometimes if you're not super familiar with reading logs, it can be kind of hard to, like, know where to improve. So, really, like, when I say that I helped him with his logs and stuff, all of that really entails is I look at all the top logs, I see what the top players are doing, and I basically just give him some tips, like comparing their logs to his. I'm like, oh, you know, their rend uptime seems higher. Like, it seems like they're using this ability much more often. Maybe you should make sure that you cast that, like, on cooldown to make sure you make the most of it. Or, it looks like on these fights, you're misaligning your cooldowns and stuff, and everybody's basically just stacking their cooldowns to use on stuff like Soul Render Dormazane ads, etc. Things like that. That's pretty much, like, the bare minimum that I do with helping with logs, but a lot of people don't really know how to do that, so it can be a huge help if you point them in the right direction. And ever since then, the dude's been absolutely killing it. Like, he's one of our best DPS. He was pretty good before, and now he's just one of our top DPS. So, the fact that, you know, they were willing to just be like, yeah, you know, let's just not help this guy, and, you know, potentially miss out on him doing way more damage as a result, just... it's just, the level of incompetence that goes on here is crazy. But, I guess, once again, that's the thing. I was the only one that he found that he could reach out to get help. So, for me, the only person that I've actually interacted with at all is that guy, and for him, the only person that he's actually interacted with that he's found, like, helpful in this guild is me. So, apparently, we're, like, the only two people in this fucking guild that actually exist outside of a clique. And as a result, when I told him, like, hey, man, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here, but, you know, you seem cool, so I want to make sure I have you added. He was like, hey, if you find a new raid team, hit me up. Like, I'm looking for something, too, at this fucking point. So, I can't blame him. It's just... if you're not going to maintain, like, a really good raid team, then you better fucking maintain a good guild, because... what do I have here? You know, it's been almost a month that I've raided in this guild. I wouldn't necessarily say that I wasted my time raiding in this guild, but... it certainly wasn't well spent, I suppose. If I wasn't actively doing YouTube and video editing, and all I really cared about was progression, I would have left these fuckers a long time ago, but I stuck it out because I was trying to give them a chance to actually prove that they could get better, and, well, they shit the bed on that, so... I guess sucks to suck in that regard. I'm just sitting here thinking about how it's already 9:15 a.m. You know, I usually post a video 2 hours from now, and, I mean, I'm still recording, so obviously I haven't finished the editing process. I just hope that I can get this all ready in time for 11, but what I might need to do is post a different video at 11 and then upload something later. Obviously, you know, that doesn't really matter to any of you guys, right? Because it's like, you know, when you're watching this when it's posted. But I guess, you know, people enjoy the stream of consciousness stuff. So that's kind of been what's going through my head right now, at least. I spent way longer than I thought I was going to rambling about that. It's just, it's frustrating. I don't know. One of the main issues that I just have about all this, you know, I can sit here and complain about the guilds all I want. The main reason that I haven't left it is just because it's effort. You know, finding a new guild takes time, and time isn't really something that I have a lot of at the moment. So the idea of having to find, like, a brand new guild right now is just kind of bumming me out. It's been something that kind of bummed me out ever since last night. I planned on getting this recording done after raid last night, and I was just so incredibly tilted after all that, like, wiping on Eye of the Jailer shit that I just said, fuck this, I'm done. I just need to log out. I need to sit there and, like, watch something on my phone. And then I passed out just, like, watching random shit on YouTube, as is tradition. And so, we're waiting until the last second again to get editing done on videos. And now, like, I don't even know how I want to spend my Wednesday, right? Well, I have a haircut appointment later today in, like, I don't know, like 5 hours or so. So that's gonna be nice. I've been trying to get a haircut appointment for a while now, and it just, every single time I try to schedule one, it's like, okay, so, like, I could have gotten a haircut anyway, right? But there's this hairdresser that my stepmom is friends with, and like she's a good hairdresser, right? Like I have no complaints about her. But because she's really good, my dad is like, oh yeah, make sure you set up an appointment with her specifically, because like any other hairdresser, they're gonna fuck up your hair. And I'm like, okay, look, if like the only person who knew how to cut hair correctly in the entire world was this woman, then literally every single other hair salon would be out of business, right? Like, I'm sure that I can get a perfectly fine haircut. Like, yes, is there a chance that it's going to get fucked up by somebody else? Okay, yeah, but at this stage, my hair has gotten to be, like, pretty fucking long. I mean, it's not like I have super duper long hair, right? But, I mean, my hair's, like, down to, like, the bottom of my neck at this point. Like, it's starting to get pretty bad. Last time I got a haircut was, like, 3 months ago or something. And I kind of wanted to get a haircut, before the semester started, but unfortunately, like, there were no available appointments then. And I did just say, fuck it at this point, like, I'm just gonna go and get, like, any old haircut. I just want to actually have, presentable hair before the school semester starts. But then my dad was like, no, fuck it, I'll schedule an appointment for you. So I was like, alright, you know what, screw it, do it yourself, right? So then he found an appointment today, which, yay, great. Well, at least, I guess I'll finally, like, not look like, a hobo. So, there's that. But that means that I really don't know what else I'm gonna be doing today. So I need to go out, I need to, do my haircut stuff, and then I also, of course I have raid later. Really excited for that. Totally, can't fucking wait. But, I guess in the meantime, I need to figure out what I'm gonna do. Like, there's a lot of videos that I need to record, but there's also, like, there's a video that I kind of want to get out by Thursday, but it's something that isn't necessarily easy to do, so I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to accomplish it by Thursday. So, it just creates this situation where I'm like, or, well, I guess not Thursday, like, technically speaking, the video that I'm thinking of is, gonna be uploaded on Friday. But I want to make sure that I accomplish it before Thursday, because Thursday I'm gonna upload basically a, what's it called, let's call it a prequel video. I guess it's basically a highlight where I talk about something specific, and then the actual video is me doing the thing that I talked about in my highlight. So, that's obviously very vague. The reason I'm not being specific about it is because let's say that I fail to actually do that. I don't want to have set expectations on this is what Friday's video is going to be, and then maybe people are actually looking forward to that, because I do know that it's something a few people are looking forward to, because a few people have said, oh yeah, that type of video would be really cool. And while it's definitely something I am going to do eventually, if I say, oh yeah, I'm going to be doing that for Friday, and then, I fail to accomplish it in time, it might not really work out super well. So don't want to make any promises there. But that means that I need to put a good amount of attempts into doing that. And in order to do that, yeah, it takes time. So in total, it should require at most like 2 hours. And if I get it in one attempt, then obviously 2 hours isn't bad. But if it takes me like 3 attempts, then that would be a lot of time that I don't really have. And then at the same time, I also kind of want to do Tazavesh hard mode, because I really need to get that stupid fucking trinket on my Prot Warrior, the Ticking Sack of Terror, because every other Prot Warrior has it, and I'm really struggling to maintain rank 1 parses when everybody else has the best trinket, which does over double the damage that my trinket does, and I don't have access to it. So not having that is, a huge hit to my numbers, and I would really like to get it, but, hard mode Tazavesh takes time. And then also, I want to do more stuff with this hunter, so, I might not really be able to, because I kind of have given a fair warning that there's going to be probably much longer time between Hunter episodes from here on out. The issue is, like, doing anything on my Hunter is really, really, really slow. Because, for instance, like, on my Death Knight, which is another thing that I kind of want to work on, even though my Death Knight is, like, more under-geared than my Hunter, I guess you would say less geared than my Hunter, right? My Death Knight, I can actually go ahead and just link, like, ahead of the curve and, you know, all this other shit, and that does, to a certain extent, help. Like, I can basically say, hey, I'm not an idiot. If you invite me, I'll do a perfectly fine job tanking. Also, tanking is, generally speaking, a more desired role. But when I'm on my Hunter, because 99% of pug groups are not going to invite a 223 survival hunter who, because the entire point of this challenge is I need to do it without any help, I obviously can't link Keystone Master or AOTC, so it's as if I'm on a survival hunter without Keystone Master or AOTC. Like, I don't have my Raider IO linked, as you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. That means that it's much harder for me to get into groups in this character, so anything I do in this character ends up taking much, much, much longer. So, I have to think about how I'm going to spend my time. And then people have wondered, like, are you going to do, like, survival hunter stuff on stream? And now that I'm streaming 3 days a week, so if you missed it, I'm streaming now every Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. EST. Depends on how long I'm going to be going, though. Last week I did a 10-hour stream on Saturday, 8-hour stream on Sunday, and 7-hour stream on Monday, so I've been streaming quite a bit. I mean, maybe to some people that's not a lot, but to me, that's a lot. I would say, you know, 7 to 10 hours is, generally speaking, a pretty long stream. But then, you know, some people are like, ah, man, you should see, like, girls on Twitch. That's nothing compared to their numbers. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe for, like, you know, a Twitch girl, that's, like, you know, basic numbers, but for me, 7 hours, even that is a lot. 10 hours especially, I'm, like, completely dead by the end of the stream. So, I can't say if every stream going forward is going to be that long, but I do spend a decent amount of time streaming on those days. Now, going forward, I should also say my streaming schedule will not be Monday, it'll be Wednesday instead. So, because of Labor Day this week, I decided to stream on Monday because I did not have class that day, but in future weeks, I will have class that day. So, every week will be Saturday and Sunday, but going forward, it'll be Wednesday instead of Monday for streaming schedule. I'd love to stream more, but as I mentioned, classes, right? Like, I just literally can't stream on other days, so sucks, but it just kind of is how it is. And, I mean, the nice thing about streaming is, obviously, that's, like, time where I can, you know, kind of chill and do other stuff. Like, I'm considering just basically saying fuck it to my parses this week and doing Tazavesh on stream, like, hard mode Tazavesh on stream, just because, like, you know, if I do it that way, then at least I don't have to worry about it. Like, I get, like, you know, stream stuff done while getting my Prot Warrior stuff done, like 2 birds, 1 stone. Probably I'll do a lot of Death Knight stuff this weekend. I haven't decided entirely yet. But the issue with the Survival Hunter, the reason why I can't reliably do that on stream is, once again, the entire idea of this challenge is it's a pugging my way with no external help. And it's not even like I would be like, oh yeah, it's, you know, I don't think people from stream would help. Because the very most recent stream on Monday, when I was doing my Blood DK gearing, a bunch of people from stream helped me out. And now, not to say I don't appreciate that, like, you know, those people who helped me out, like, I really appreciate you. Like, that was awesome. It was really fun, like, getting to run with people from stream, and, you know, a lot of them had, like, plate alts and stuff, so they were able to, like, trade me some gear. It was pretty nice, honestly. That was, like, the first time I've ever actually done that, and it was pretty cool. But that also sets the precedent that, well, if I end up streaming something, there is a chance that people from the stream will go and help me with dungeons, and that's great when I'm, like, just trying to gear up a character, but when I'm trying to do a challenge run where that is kind of the exact opposite of what I need to be doing, I don't really think I should be streaming it. Because even if I say on stream, oh, hey, like, don't help me out, I'm sure some people would maybe, like, pretend not to realize that it's me and invite me to, like, a Keystone group, and I just don't want to risk it. Like, I don't want to set myself up to be in a position where people could say, oh, well, you know, it's rigged because, like, people knew that, like, you were on stream, and they were trying to, get you a Keystone Master, partial completion or whatever. I'm just going to play it safe and do all this stuff off stream. But once again, that limits the time that I have to record this. The only actual time when I can feasibly record this now is, I guess, this week on a Wednesday, because I'm not streaming, but in future weeks on a Monday, and then on Fridays, because that's when I'm not raiding and not streaming. So I have, an extensive amount of free time. I should say, though, despite all of the, I guess, frustrations that I'm having with actually recording this Hunter Challenge, more just in that I don't really have time to do it, the time commitment isn't going to stop me from doing this challenge. So, if you're worried that, oh no, maybe I'm going to give up on this, I can assure you that I am loving Survival Hunter right now. If I wasn't enjoying Survival Hunter, I wouldn't be doing this challenge whatsoever, regardless on whether or not it took me a lot of time. But I am almost, more encouraged to do this challenge just because I love Survival Hunter. Sure, it's going to take a lot of time, but I will see it through just because I have a fucking blast actually playing this spec. But it does make it a bit difficult. So, this actually, coincidentally, is going to be uploaded almost a week directly from the time when the last Hunter Challenge came in. I think it's going to be a few hours past a week, right? Because this video won't go up exactly at 11. But it'll be almost exactly a week. And, that's great and all. Oh, shit. Gotta trank shot that. But in the future, that's really not something that I'm going to be able to consistently do. So, yeah, I would say expect, a new Hunter episode maybe once every 2 weeks. Now, I should also mention that one of the things about these episodes is it obviously takes me a lot more time to edit, because, I mean, the entire time that I've just been in Torghast has been, close to an hour. So, that is a ton of editing work that I have to do, and I'm going to try to condense it down to, hopefully, if I manage to do it properly, 15 minutes. I spent close to 4 hours in Sanctum of Domination, and I've already managed to condense that down to 45 minutes, because, I mean, I'm not going to show every single boss fight on normal, I'm not going to show, every single thing. Normal Sanctum is normal Sanctum. It's not super interesting, especially, if I'm not really doing anything special. I'd like to think that I played well on every single one of the bosses, but it just doesn't make for great video content. So what I've been doing is basically taking a massive amount of footage and condensing it down into only the best bits. So I would say right now, as a result, each episode takes a colossal amount of editing time because of all the footage that I have to sift through to get all the correct clips and whatnot. And that means that it's kind of difficult to actually put one of these out in a reasonable amount of time. So I would say, actually, yeah, the next few episodes you can expect, a 2-week gap as I slowly make progress in this Hunter. But once I get closer and closer to AOTC and Keystone Master, you'll probably get more frequent uploads, because eventually I'm going to hit, critical mass in this Hunter, right? I'll have basically all of the gear that I need, and at that point it's just a matter of, joining groups. Once I actually have gear on this character, and I have, a decent amount of progression, I should just be able to get invited on my own merits. And then I can just start doing videos of unedited boss kills strung together. Obviously, the video will be edited, but the entire boss kill will be shown there. Maybe mild editing, but I would say, with the exception of maybe, I don't think I'll show, Heroic Terragru, Heroic Eye of the Jailer, but, stuff that is notoriously, slightly difficult in pugs, Heroic Painsmith, I'm kind of dreading doing in a pug, so when I eventually kill Heroic Painsmith, I'll include that. Obviously, when I finish Heroic Sylvanas, I'll include that. I even, as you know, included all of normal Sylvanas here. I would say normal Sylvanas is enough of a stepping stone to include, most of the footage. So all that stuff you'll see included. Once I start doing full 15 runs, most of the 15 runs will be there. Obviously, now with Keystone Master, you need, a plus 15 on each difficulty, so the first completion of each, I'll include, the full run. So, my first Sanguine Depths plus 15. Let's say it's Tyrannical. That'll be there. But then if I do a plus 15 Fortified to, actually get progress towards Keystone Master, I'll probably do a bit more of like an edited version of that. Because it's like, you've already seen me do Sanguine, that kind of thing. And once that happens, that should, in theory, reduce the editing load, so you should see more frequent episodes. But, just be patient for now. I'm gonna continue with this challenge, but I would not be surprised if this ends up taking me until, like, November to finish. I'm gonna try to get it done before Final Fantasy comes out, at least, or the new expansion. Because I don't want to be in a position where, like, I'm really hooked on playing Final Fantasy, and then I have to pick and choose between finishing WoW stuff and, doing Final Fantasy videos. So, I've already said this before. Obviously, I love Final Fantasy if you watch this channel for any significant amount of time at all. But when Endwalker comes out, which I believe early access is the 19th, and then it finally launches on the 23rd or something, I'm going to be playing that, pretty much only that, for like a week or two. Whatever WoW guild I'm in is just not going to see me at all. And as a result, whatever WoW content I'm doing will just be completely dropped for that period of time. So, I'm going to shoot to have the Survival Hunter Challenge done by then. Whatever other series I have going on, like, at this point, it's really just that. There's some other, like, minor things that I've mentioned. But they're not really series, more like individual videos that I've said I'm going to make at some point. I'll try to have that done before then. So that's probably going to be the length of the series. But it is going to be a while. I cannot dedicate enough time each week to finish this. At least in a reasonable amount of time. So if I had to finish this challenge by the end of September, I would say that's like impossible. Or at least not realistically possible. But yeah, if it's by November, then yeah, I'll get it done. Just going to be a while. But anyways, I can sit here and ramble forever. I've pretty much talked about everything that I actually, really want to talk about. And unfortunately, I don't know if you can hear, but now somebody's mowing their lawn right outside, and it's really fucking loud, and it's really fucking annoying. So I'm just going to go ahead and stop the video here. Thank you for watching. I have a shit ton of editing that I need to do, so I hope it pays off. And I'll catch you in the next video.